The house was disgusting. It was rat infested, roach infested, to the extent they told us, don't plug the stove back in because it'll burn down the house because the rats have chewed the wires. I mean, it was bad.
This is the Active Duty Passive Income Podcast, and I'm your host, Mark-Ian Sitch, a United States Marine turned full-time real estate investor and educator. I'm bringing you the most successful military, veteran, and military spouse real estate investors, entrepreneurs, and industry experts to break down exactly how they did it, so you can too. All right. ADPI, we're back. We're back today with another rock star from our community. Another episode I'm excited about. I know I always say this, but this is just, we're just having back-to-back awesome guests. Today, we have Erica Lehmkuhl from, you're in Oahu, right?
Yes.
You're in Hawaii. You are like, 4 hours away from
At
me
least.
right now, right?
Where are you?
5? I'm East Coast right now.
Time difference is 5 hours, and for flights, it's about 9 or 10 hours. It takes me about 5.5 hours to get to the West Coast, and then about another 4.5 to get across the states.
Yeah. I was definitely thinking like time zones, but yeah, that actually puts it in perspective for me because I have never been to Hawaii. But I'm wearing a Hawaiian shirt for anybody who's watching on YouTube. I got to take my wife there as a surprise. Actually, this isn't going to come out till after her birthday. I'm surprising by taking her to see some of her best friends in Europe, but I almost went to Hawaii. Next time I'll take her to Hawaii. But hey, Erica, it is a pleasure to have you on the podcast. I know a lot of our community definitely know who you are. You're a big personality. You're super fun. You always come to ADPI
Yes.
Con.
I can't wait.
And yeah, I know. And we just love having you. And I want to dig into all the specifics of Hawaii. Because it's a luxury market. It is an island market. It is so different than what most of the military is used to. And you're such a cornerstone of our community. And you property manage, you house hack, you buy and sell awesome real estate. You know how to, you think about things outside the box when it comes to investments. Especially luxury primary residences that, people need to think about those a little bit
When you say luxury,
differently.
it makes me laugh
So
because
thank
even though a
you.
house might be $1 million here, we bought the house I'm currently sitting in for $1 million, and it was a POS. So,
Oh, well, see, that's the thing though. Then that's what we got to dig into this because it's a whole
oh yeah.
different world there. I feel like sometimes, at least like different from like, let's say, I don't know, North Carolina, for example, Lejeune, Sneed's Ferry, what house station, like near New River, very different. Okay. So, a couple of things. We're going to talk about Hawaii, but also I just want to get a little bit of your background. Let's pretend nobody knows about you because we have a lot of new listeners. This is the relaunch of the podcast. I've been saying that for the past like 10 episodes, but I still feel like it's fresh. It's exciting to host this. So give us a little bit of background. Like if you just met somebody day one, what do you tell them about yourself?
My name, I'm Erica Lehmkuhl. That's how you say it for people that see it and don't know how to say it. No,
Did I
you did.
mess that up?
You said
I
it
think
right.
I said that.
If you said it at all.
Okay,
Anyway,
cool.
but
Okay,
Erica
okay.
Lehmkuhl, like lemon Kool-Aid. That's how I used to tell people in the military. Sweet,
Sweet.
yeah. Like I'm so sweet. No, yeah. So
Am I supposed to
yeah,
laugh?
no, because you'd actually know me. So I am really sweet, but I'm also can be, you know, a little stingy, whatever, like a bee. There you go. Um,
There you
Anyway,
go.
so yeah, I'm retired Army First Sergeant. I retired out here in Hawaii. I absolutely love it. My first duty station was Germany, and second one was Hawaii because I reenlisted for it back in the 90s. And I loved it here so much that after I left in 2000, in the year 2000, I tried so hard to get back. Finally came back in 2013 as a first sergeant. So it was really different being at E4 leaving and then being at E8 coming back. But I love Hawaii. It's beautiful. I mean, I'm looking at the ocean right now over the top of my screen. I, it just to me it doesn't get much better than this. It's the closest thing to a foreign country you can get and still be in the United States with all of the comforts that we've come to know and love. I am a real estate broker, so I have a higher level of licensure and education, hopefully experience as well. But yeah, I do. Um, yeah, and I started my own company after about 4 years of working for someone else because at that point she had started to ask me questions, and I was like, why am I giving this person a portion of my commission when I think I can do it myself. So I started Seaside Realty,
Mm.
and I loved doing property management. It's okay. Well, I want to say love it. I love helping the people doing property management. Property management is very unforgiving a lot of the time. somebody's always mad
Mm-hmm.
at you, which was perfect because I was enlisted in the military. So you're always the bad guy anyway. So I got used to being the bad guy. So somebody's always mad, but it's following the laws and following regulations. And being in the military, I don't know if I said I retired, but I did 23 years and retired. Um, Everything in the military is in a regulation. It's in black and white. You know it's right. Same thing with real estate. It's
Right.
in black and
Right.
white. You know it's right.
Mm-hmm.
So I love this not strictness. The what do you call it? Like the
The ability to fall back on something that's
yeah,
black and
like you know,
white,
it's
right?
it's structured. I like the structure. And if you follow the rules and do what you're supposed to do and be a good person, it all works out.
That's awesome. And wait, so just to be clear, other than Hawaii, before you moved to Hawaii, your entire time was in
No, no. Oh
Germany
my gosh, I skipped a
in the
lot.
military?
So
Oh, no, no,
yeah,
no, that's fine. Maybe I just like
no, I did
misunderstood.
Germany
Okay,
twice.
but
So I was Germany. So 17, I joined the army because I was fighting with my parents. I'm from Louisville, Kentucky. So if you know anything about Louisville, you know that I joined the army to be able to shoot back at people that were shooting at me. I'm really glad I got out. Yeah, I mean, I love my friends and family from back home, but there's no way I would want to be there again. It's too sad, it's too dangerous, it's too everything, and it makes me sad that a lot of the mainland is going that way, but that's a whole other podcast. Yeah, so I left
fair
for the
enough.
army at 17. 18 moved to Germany. 2 months after my 19th birthday, I was on my first deployment to Bosnia for peace implementation forces over there. It really made me feel
That's where my mom
it's
was born.
beautiful country. People don't know. Croatia and Bosnia are absolutely
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah.
But
Oh,
went
yeah,
there 2
definitely.
months after my 19th birthday, so I grew up real fast. Then I was moved to Hawaii when I was 20. Lived here for 3 years. I got married, graduated college, had a baby in that order. So I went to Chaminade University of Honolulu. Silver Swords, what? It's cool being back here because people actually know what Chaminade is because it's a very tiny little school. Then at 20, I don't know. Like I went to Arizona after that, like in 2001. I was there for a year, absolutely hated it. Sorry if you love Arizona, but the desert is not my jam. So I was in Fort Huachuca, Arizona for a year, got the heck out of there, went to Fort Bragg, loved Fort Bragg, became a paratrooper, lived that life for 8 years. Yeah, went to
Woohoo!
Korea, came back to Bragg, went to Iraq, came back to Bragg. Oh, and I met my husband on my
Damn,
second
okay.
or on my first Iraq deployment. I met my husband Jason. We've been married almost 20 years. Um, then after Bragg, we went to Germany again against my will. But I mean, I like Germany. I just didn't want to go overseas. I love being at Bragg. I like North Carolina. So got dragged kicking and screaming to Germany. Went to Iraq again because who doesn't love to do summer in Iraq? Then we came back to Germany, and my son had a brain aneurysm. So a lot of people don't know that. I have a son that has a genetic disorder. So we found this out when he was about almost 2 years old because we didn't know what was wrong. He had a brain aneurysm. He had polyps in his intestines. He was
Oh gosh.
so sick, not thriving, making his milestones, but barely. He had a very large head, and we finally figured out he had a brain aneurysm, which was linked to this disorder called P10 gene disorder. It's really rare. There's like a couple of support groups worldwide that we all talk to each other, but he's on a really
Wow.
positive end of the spectrum of it. Like he had a lot of problems when he was younger that could have killed him, but thankfully we had good medical
Mhm.
intervention. We went to Walter Reed, we went to Children's DC. So I got stationed in Fort Meade, Maryland on a compassionate reassignment. Because when your kid's like super duper sick like that, the
Gotcha.
army and I think all the services
Mhm.
take care of you. So I went to Fort Meade, Maryland and was
Yeah.
triple slotted with two other E7s who also had, you know, a wife battling cancer or something really, really seriously wrong going on in their household. And
Right.
he got surgeries there and got not healed, but they made him stable and now he is 15 and 6'1", and we just weighed him this morning. He's 192. He's a football player. And yeah, after
Hell
Maryland,
yeah.
I wanted to come back to Hawaii. I made E8 in Maryland, and I was like, okay, I always wanted to be a first sergeant. I looked all around the DC area for a first sergeant job, couldn't find one. It's really hard. I'm Signal Corps, so I couldn't find any jobs there in my field. And I was like, hey Jason, remember how you always said Jason's my husband. Jason, remember how you always said that you wanted to go to Hawaii one day? Because I always talked about Hawaii. I loved it. And he was like, yeah. I was like, well, do you want to go now? He said, sure, let's go. So I didn't reenlist because I was already indefinite, but I talked to my branch and I was like, hey, do you have anything in Hawaii? And she was like, yeah, I can get you to Hawaii, no problem. I was like, all right, let's do it. And then I came out here in 2013, um, stayed a first sergeant for almost 3 years.
Where did the real estate
Oh,
come
my
in?
freaking
Like,
husband. No,
oh,
that was
sorry,
the end
sorry,
of
I
the
didn't mean
story.
to.
And then I retired here.
But I mean, like, because, like, okay, so you have this. just
Yeah.
jam packed all over the world
Yeah.
career, super awesome. And somewhere, like, did you catch the bug before
Oh, yeah.
Hawaii? Was it like, were you entrepreneurial at any time? Like, when did, because like, here's what I like, for me, the hardest part was accepting without guilt that I wanted to that that I wanted to do something else. And it's not that like I think it's more accepted that some people are like, "Oh yeah, I'm done with the military. I'm going to go find a job or I'm going to go use my GI Bill." That's like standard accepted that's typically not associated with guilt as far as
No.
I'm aware of. But when you're like, "Hey, it's almost like you have to admit or tell people that no, it's not ego. It's not that I think I'm better than the military or what it's given to me, but I do think I can do something better for myself. That to me was hard to stomach, especially since I went to the Naval Academy. My education was
Yes.
free.
We
I,
lived in Annapolis.
I,
We
I
lived in
got to,
Annapolis. I loved it.
oh
We
my
we used
God, I
we used to
love
walk across.
Annapolis.
We lived off of Forest Drive by the Safeway. We would cut across the back neighborhood and walk to the games at the stadium and walk to downtown. We loved it. Loved Annapolis, and we hosted
What?
midshipmen.
God,
So we have a mid that's actually out here. He's a sub guy. He's really smart, nuke guy. Yeah,
shut the
yeah.
front door. Yeah, I was there from '09 to 13. And wow, I had the best sponsor. Well, actually, my first sponsor family wasn't that great, but I got adopted by my
We
roommate's
were there
sponsor
10,
family.
10, 11,
They
and
lived in
12, or
Sherwood.
11, 12, 13. So we overlapped at almost, I think. Yeah.
What in the world? Yeah, I was in 17th Company. And then yeah, I mean that's back when the commandant was Clunder, and then the other guy, the sub guy, um, can't remember him. But yeah, so my sponsor parents were thebomb.com. They actually, my sponsor dad invested in my first
Wow.
syndication. Like, yeah, so yeah, had a great time. But yeah, so sorry,
Mhm.
like just trying to bring it back to the fact that like I think everybody has their own, sometimes it's easier for people, I guess, but maybe just like this own mental battle of like, I am very thankful for, first of all, what the United States did for my family, like adopted generation, like I'm a third generation, even though I grew up in Ukraine, adopted my family, and then now what the military has done for me. But like, so I couldn't help but feel like I was, am I betraying somebody that I'm like leaving at the
Yeah,
first opportunity I had? You
I
know what I
do.
mean? So I'm just saying that's what I was battling. But obviously, you did the full shtick, 23 years. But somewhere along the road, you became
Yeah,
entrepreneur,
so I mean,
right?
I always invested in houses. When I got divorced from, I met my first husband in Hawaii, had my daughter and everything. We went to Huachuca, Arizona. It wasn't good. We got to Fort Bragg. He was
Hmm.
airborne, I was airborne. We were like having eternal power struggle, got divorced. Um, And then right after we got divorced, I made staff sergeant and I had a 2-year-old and I bought my first house. It was a VA foreclosure. I went through the list because back then they still had books. I went through the
Wow.
books. I
Okay.
drove around and found this VA foreclosure that was a little bitty 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom, 1,100 square foot house with a single garage. And I bought it and that's where I got started. I knew I had to buy something.
But hold on. How did you know? Like, okay, I didn't even know what a foreclosure was when I started thinking about buying a house. Like, how did you jump to that versus just
Luck.
buying like, a
I
standard
lucked into it.
luck? Okay.
It's
So,
not a
but
compelling story about how smart I was. No, I was driving around neighborhoods and I saw the sign in the front yard and I called the number on the sign. I called the listing agent, which I didn't know at the time. You probably shouldn't do that because they're representing the seller. You need someone representing you as a buyer's agent. But I called them.
right. Ooh, that's a good
Yeah, but
lesson
they
right
took care
there.
of me.
Yeah.
That guy's name was Eddie Terry. He
Okay.
still is in real estate in North Carolina. I love him. He's fabulous. But yeah, he's getting a little older, but he's still fabulous. Yeah, and so I talked to Eddie, and actually James was like his boss back then. Eddie was younger in the business, and I ended up going with Eddie long term for buying other properties. But we found this house, or I found this house, and I was like, hey, I like the location. It's a corner lot. It has a big yard. I had a daughter. I wanted a garage because I have a motorcycle problem. If you don't know me, so yeah, I wanted my motorcycle and my dog.
What
Well,
kind? What
right now I
kind?
have a Moto Guzzi. It's 2014 Moto Guzzi V72 racer, so it's a cafe racer. But my motorcycles I had back then were all crotch rockets. I was a CBR 600 Honda girl, and then a CBR 1000.
Oh,
Yeah,
no way.
yeah. I
That's
used to race when
crazy.
I was in Hawaii. I raced in
Wow.
Augusta, Georgia. They have a track out there, so yeah, I used to do a lot of crazy things. But
That's
what got
wild.
me into real estate, I started investing on my own I bought that house,
Mm-hmm.
kept it, met Jason in '05 because I got divorced when I first got to Bragg. I was at Bragg for like 8 years. So got divorced in '02, bought the house in '02, bought a new motorcycle, bought a new truck, got a new dog. I had to do the whole do. And then went to
Yeah,
Korea.
yeah, yeah,
Yay, went
yeah.
to Korea in '03. Then came back from Korea and went to Iraq in '05, met my husband Jason. We got married in '06. He went to Afghanistan. He came back and all of a sudden, we decided to start a family. So he was getting out of the military. I got pregnant and it was like, okay, we're going to need a bigger house because this 1,100 square feet was good for me and Danny. It was good for me and Danny and Jason, but me, Danny, Jason, and another baby, we probably need to upgrade. So we bought another house. It was in North Carolina. It was in Summerhill, if anybody knows that neighborhood. Big houses, but not the best neighborhood. And it smelled like people had been
Mm,
fighting pit bulls in it for about 5 years, which is, I love that. It smells like money to me. The worse the house is, the more I love it. As long as it'll barely pass VA inspection, that's what I look for. And even if it has a broken window or is missing flooring,
mm,
we'll do whatever we need to do just to get it past the VA condition appraisal. Because when they do their appraisal, they look at condition, of course. So we'll do whatever we need to do just to eke it
right.
past, and you get it a house that most other people aren't looking at for even cheaper. And then, like back then, we didn't have much money, so we financed a lot of the repairs. We had maybe 10 or 20 grand from our other house selling because North Carolina is little budget means little increases, right? So we bought that house for like $119,000, put like 20 grand into it. They're like, "Oh, surprise! I know you're pregnant, but guess what? You're going to Germany." And I'm like, "Oh gosh." So we had to go to Germany, which answers the question of what do you do with a house if do you have to live in it a year or 2 years before you can rent it? Short answer, no, you do not. So
There you
we
go.
bought the house. Yeah, we
Ding,
bought the
ding,
house, and
ding.
2 months after we bought it, I had ordered cabinets. I'm on my hands and knees pulling staples out of a hardwood floor where they had stapled down the floor, the matting or whatever, the carpet pad. I was pulling that out,
Right,
like I
right,
said, 5
right.
and a half months pregnant, and I get a call, and they're like, "Oh, you're going to Germany." I'm like, "What?" Like, I'm in the middle of remodeling this house.
Sick, bro.
I'm pregnant, and I was like, "Maybe y'all don't understand. I'm the service member, so it's not like you're gonna ship us to Germany. I'm gonna deploy 7 months pregnant. Are you out of your mind? Like, what's wrong with you?" Our branch was I still don't like her. Anyway, she had never been deployed. That's a whole other story. In the
Mhm.
Army, we fight over non-deployers and deployers. So I had already been deployed freaking twice and been to Korea, and my husband just came back from Afghanistan, and now you're like, "Oh, you've been homesteading." Chick, please. So I ended up staying in North Carolina till I had Troy. We didn't know something was wrong. They knew his head was too big, but they didn't know what was wrong. They just thought he was big. We went to Germany. I deployed when he was about 10 months old, and Jason stayed back with him. And then when I came back is when we found out he
Holy
was
cow.
sick. But we owned that house for only about, I think, 8 months before we had to get tenants in it. And we were maybe breaking even upside down a little bit, and we kept those same tenants for like 10 years. I just oh my gosh, my property manager was a nightmare, which is part of the reason I do property management now, because they did our house wrong, and I'm still like forever going to be mad at them. And they nickel and dimed me, which makes it even worse. But yeah, we owned that house, and then
Wow.
we
Okay.
bought and sold something in Maryland and made money off that. And then when we got to Hawaii, we wanted to buy something that was in crappy shape. I was an E8, like I said. I didn't have any plans of retiring at that time. I loved the military. Like I loved what I did. I got up in the morning, like fired up to go do PT. I loved it. I would yell at the soldiers. We would run. It was just like I loved everything about it. So I didn't know if I would ever be ready to retire. But we bought the house here. It was a new build, and I was like, oh, new builds are really hard to find in Hawaii, and this was a new build on North Shore, which doesn't exist. But it did at this perfect moment in time. So people always say lucky. Oh, you're the lucky Lemkels, lucky, lucky. But I believe firmly that luck is when preparation and opportunity meet. And I stay prepared and I look for opportunities. Right now, my husband, I know I jump around a lot. Right now, my husband is assuming my VA loan because we have a 2.25% interest rate. I'm VA service connected disabled. He is not. He's still working on his claim, but
Oh, you want to waive the
yes, because
fee.
if you're buying a $2 million house, which you can do on a VA loan with zero down, by the way, if you're buying a $2 million home, that's what's 2 point or 2 times 3.3 is like what? That's like
Whatever
a
that
lot of
is. Yeah.
money. That's like yeah, it's like
Yeah, yeah,
60
yeah.
60
60
66
grand,
grand.
66
So,
grand. It's a
yeah, that's
lot of
stupid.
money.
And
And it's debt that you're then paying interest
exactly.
on. Like,
So,
yeah. Well, if you roll it into the loan, I mean, nope. I don't know many people that
no.
pay it up front,
No.
especially on a $2 million
So
house. But yeah.
if the loan's in my name, we have no funding fee. And if when we move into the house in Hawaii, if you're 100% disabled, your property tax is $300 a year, regardless of the value of the house if it's your primary residence. So, yeah,
Can I
yeah,
just pause you real quick? Okay. So just because I mean a lot of what you're saying, like I need to recognize myself like, oh, like I immediately connected that. I was like, oh, that's why you're doing it. Makes sense. But a lot of people like let's just
yeah.
talk through that real quick. There is so yes, the VA loan is
Yep.
0% down. We talked about this on an episode or two ago, but it does not mean, with Ted Cantor, we're talking about that. It does not mean that you're literally going to be
That is
zero out of
correct.
pocket. And there's also a little bit of a give and take. The reason why it's 0% down is because the government is basically securing 25% of the value. So that kind of like because the lender has that insurance of that 25%, they're like, okay, you don't have to give us
Yep.
20% down. However, unless you're at least 10% disabled, you have to come up with a funding fee.
Or
It's
you
not,
have a Purple
and
Heart. If
funding
you have a
fees
Purple
aren't
Heart, that's
something
also an
that's
exemption.
there you go. And that's not something that's like foreign really to with insurance that's the thing, with loans that's the thing, like funding fees
Yeah.
are a thing. Okay, so and so that's not like a novel concept. It's not, the VA is not screwing you over, guys. Like this is just a thing to kind of, it's just a check and balance, right, on in the financial system. However, it is 3%, 3%, whatever it is, like it kind of changes
Hmm.
with every house. So you're basically trying to take advantage of your VA disability. So you're giving your husband this property, putting that under
The
his name,
loan.
and you're like, okay, now
It's deeded to
right, the
both of us.
loan,
We're
right,
both on the
yeah,
deed, which is important. But the
but the
loan
loan,
was in my
right,
name
right,
solely. He had a construction company and had too much debt, and I had better credit. Everything when we bought this house in 2020, we put it in my name because I had better credit and more income. I was doing real estate and a GS. I was a GS
okay,
12, doing real estate, had disability and military retirement. So I qualified for it no problem by myself. So multiple streams of
right.
income
Yeah,
of
so
that.
your debt
Yes.
to income, yeah. And by the way, guys, VA disability is
Hmm.
tax free. So what that means, similar to your BAH, is that actually, and first of all, if your lender doesn't know that, please reach out to us and we'll hook you up with somebody that's licensed in your area. Talk to Erica if you're doing it in Hawaii. She'll hook you up with somebody. But what I wanted to say is um, that you get a 25% bump on your income on the income side of the calculation. So you being able to qualify for these these really expensive properties in Hawaii, it's important to know, oh wait, like 100% disabled, you're making 4 grand maybe. Oh, that's actually like
Yeah.
5 grand, and so they're looking at you as a more powerful borrower. And so that's just, I'm just trying to make sure I touch on all these very important moments, because a lot of times these things slip through the cracks and these can literally make or break opportunities. Like $1,000 on your income can either make a deal happen for you or not. So
Well,
that's
here
that's huge.
your
That's awesome that you
BAH
were
is
able to do that.
$4,000 per month, give or take, between 35 and 45. I mean, that doesn't buy you $1 million house with the current interest rates, but that's amazing. That's a lot of money that's not taxed. Your BAS for your
Yeah.
food is not taxed. Out here, you get cost of living allowance or COLA. It may only be $500 a month, but that's not taxed. The state of Hawaii does not tax retirement pay, military retirement pay. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good things. And our property taxes in Hawaii, a lot of people don't know this. We have the lowest property tax rate in the nation. It is 0.03 or something like that. So every year, if you have $1 million house and you live in it as owner occupant, your taxes will be about $3,200 per year. It is amazing.
Wow. No. My St. Pete house. It's close. I mean, it's almost $1 million house.
What is it, like
Um,
12, 15,000 a
I
year?
think the last assessment was 16 and a
Yeah,
half.
Florida's like that. I heard Texas is as well, but I'm not sure.
And I'm lucky because my insurance would be the same, if not double that. But my
We're
insurance is
not
only
gonna talk
three
about
grand. I'm saying
insurance in
only, but
Hawaii
like,
because I live in a flood zone, so no, it's not always tragic, but
well, see, I lucked out. Like St. Pete is like a dome. I'm in the
aw,
middle of St. Pete, like so there. I got no flooding issues. They even wrapped flooding into my
oh gosh.
insurance for.
Well,
It's like, yeah,
One thing
I got
important
very
to note about
lucky.
Hawaii real estate is
Yeah.
when you buy a home, we'll just use single family for right now. I have a single family home. I'm across the street from the ocean. Every house, even if it's on the ocean, is could be in a different flood zone. It could be in an X flood zone, which means you don't have to pay flood insurance. I am in what's called AE flood zone. So VE is the worst. It stands for wave velocity and emulsion or whatever, some emulsion. It's some bad thing. So when I say VE, it means very expensive. So VE is the worst. AE is the next worst, and then you want D or X where you don't have to pay flood insurance. So in Hawaii, excuse me, I have regular hazard insurance, which is about $600 a year. That's nothing. Which is if your house burns down or the sink overflows and floods downstairs. Then we
Hmm.
also have to have wind insurance. Well, it wasn't building code to put in hurricane tie downs until 2005. This house was built in like the 80s. Downstairs was built in the 60s.
Mm.
The upstairs was built in the 80s. I live in a house hack, which we can talk about later if you want. Um, so this part was built
Yep.
in the 80s.
I
Yeah, I
got that
love it.
written down.
It's so smart. Like I live here for free. I live in this house for free, across the street from the ocean. I don't know. I love it. It blows my mind.
Crazy. We're
Yeah.
going to talk about that,
But
guys.
yeah,
Don't
so
worry.
your hazard insurance is about $600 a year. My wind insurance, because I don't have hurricane tie downs, is about 12, or I think $1,300 a year now, so about $100 a month. And then my flood insurance is about $1,500 a year. So altogether, I'm about $350 a month in insurance. Not my favorite thing to pay for, but it's required if you have a mortgage. I don't think it's going to flood where I am. If it does, I'm on the
Yeah,
upper floor and I don't care, but I'm still required to have flood insurance. So if the downstairs floods, then,
sure.
I have to get it all fixed up. But yeah.
I gotcha. Well, um, I'm sure that your ocean view is making up
I
for
know I
that
want to
right
turn you
now.
guys around so you can see it, but I don't
But
know if you'll be able to see it. Anyway, later.
no, well, I promise you we'll come
Okay.
visit. Maybe we'll do an in-person podcast
Oh, that'd
visiting
be
one of your
cool. One of my flips.
properties or
Yes.
something. Yeah, yeah, no, exactly. I know you like. Oh, we'll touch on that as well. So let's
Yeah.
just cut to the chase. What is the number one mistake people make when they're buying a home in Hawaii, and how can they avoid it?
I have to tread
Specifically
lightly
military.
because I'm not allowed to disparage certain areas of the island. There are portions of the island that when people get here, they think, this looks so much like the mainland. Look at these houses. It's not a culture shock. I want to buy here. There's a mall down the street. It's all sunny and gorgeous. What they don't think about is, so I live on North Shore. The houses on North Shore, there's no HOA. So there might be 5 junk cars in your neighbor's front yard. His or her carport might be overflowing with boxes and old tires and have 3 pit bulls chained in the yard, okay? And that's an exaggeration, but not really. So I'm thankful that my neighbors around me are pretty decent, but one of
Okay.
them did have like 10 dogs. Thank God they just got rid of them. Um, but we don't have an HOA. That means you can do whatever you want, which is great. But
Okay.
then your neighbors can do whatever
Right.
they want to.
Same.
Uh, so it's kind of
Right.
dicey. But a lot of people, when they look at our neighborhood, they see sometimes chain link fences or dogs or junk, and they think it's a junky neighborhood, even though it's really nice and the people are great. They just hoard because of poverty. And if you've ever been to Poland or Ukraine or some of, not the every place, but some of the poorer areas in those countries, you understand, or you're from a poor place in the country, you understand that people hoard things because they don't know when they're going to be able to replace it. And Hawaii is very expensive, and people have multi-generational
Right.
living, like multiple family members, so they hoard a little bit. So they want to go and live in the portion of the island that looks like the mainland that has HOAs. Well, guess what HOAs do? They don't go down, they go up. The HOA tells you what to do, they tell you what you can't do, which is good and bad. And then the traffic coming out of that side of the island is horrific. I have people that will argue with me, and I'm like, all right, cool. I live here. I don't know what I'm talking about. You're right. And they'll tell me that the commute out of that area to Tripler Army Medical Center, which is the big hospital here, they'll tell me that it's the same, or it's 25 minutes from from that portion of the island to Tripler, and I'll tell them it's 25 minutes from Mililani. They're like, it's the same. I'm like, the difference is it's almost always 25 minutes from Mililani. But the other portion of the island that you're talking about, it's an hour easy when you have traffic. And I'll do screenshots of the TV screen where they're
Mm,
showing the morning commute because they do the morning commute every morning because the traffic here is horrific. And I try to
mm.
explain to people like, you don't understand that the climate is different. On North Shore, I don't have air conditioning. No air conditioning, no heat. If it's cold, you shut the windows. If it's hot, you open them and turn on the fans. Certain portions,
Wait, are
yeah.
you serious? Is it like California
Oh,
or
it's
even
better.
better? Like, is it just because of the ocean
Yeah, it's
breeze?
better and it's
Okay.
just temperate. Like right now the sun isn't extremely bright. It's wintertime, so it's cooler.
This is
Yeah,
year
year round
round?
the low.
I sound dumb right now. I'm like, I know Hawaii's awesome,
Oh
but
yeah.
like, I don't
So the
know.
lowest it gets here is about, well, I'm on North Shore. So lowest it gets here is about maybe 58. And that'll only be for a couple days in the winter, like February or March. The normal low is about 70. The normal high in the winter is about 80, 85. The normal high in the summer is 85, maybe 88. And the wind is always blowing. Like I'm looking at my
Wow.
flag out the window right now, and the flag is just blowing because the wind's blowing. So, but
So,
on the other side of
okay.
the island, sorry, I didn't finish.
Now
On
let's
the other side of the island, you
No,
have to
no, you're
have
fine.
well, you don't have to. You would want air conditioning and heat, or sorry, not heat. You would want air conditioning because
I
it's
see.
so hot over there. It's the hotter, drier side of the island. Here, it rains a little in the morning. If you ever lived in Puerto Rico or any tropical place, it rains in the morning and then the winds start blowing and it's gorgeous. And we have a lot of greenery. The lots are bigger. But if you go to certain parts of the island, it's hotter and drier. On the west side of the island, it is hotter and drier. The east side is more temperate. It rains more. It's cooler. It's breezier. That's not disparaging a neighborhood. That is science. So just take that for what you will.
I
And so the
see. No,
electricity
no,
is more. My electricity is about $200 per month. Okay. If you go someplace where you have air conditioning, your electricity can easily go to five, six, $800 a month.
double,
Yeah,
triple that.
it's 50
Yeah.
cents per
Yeah.
kilowatt hour here. It's ungodly. So yeah, you need to
Good
be really
night.
careful where you buy. So
Okay.
knowing where you buy is the most important thing.
So, okay, let's talk about the investment
Yes.
side. So, uh, first of all, you were saying that you were upside down uh, on your first house or when you rented it
Yeah.
out. I just want to rewind a little bit because I want to talk about mindset a little bit. And then we're going to talk about the investment side in Hawaii here as well. Because I'm sure, a lot of our listeners, especially when we put this on YouTube, are going to be searching like, hey, how do I make money when I'm in Hawaii? All this kind of stuff. We want to give them those
Yeah.
golden nuggets. So, guys, stay tuned. But like, just really quick, I think it's interesting. Like, when I got into real estate, I was like, so diehard cash flow, and I still am. I mean, and as an educator, I
I'm
have
not.
to
I'm the opposite.
make
I've
sure
made
they're.
so much money by appreciation.
Let me qualify what I'm saying.
Okay.
No, 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 and I know you have
Yeah.
that. I know you have that perspective, and and I think it's valuable because I have changed my perspective a lot. I'm diehard cash flow, like, but it depends what the
Mhm.
strategy is. Like it can't just be like always black and white cash flow. Like I got a California home. I mean, I was also underwater
Mm.
monthly, but I knew that was the only opportunity in my life to buy a California home in an area where I knew it was about to like it was getting squeezed. All the areas around were appreciating, and this was the last part of like SoCal that wasn't. And sure enough, I got 172K tax
Mhm.
free. Right. I'm sure you probably have even better stories in Hawaii, but for me, that was damn
Yeah.
near life changing. Right. And so there is just the fact that there's appreciation, which typically when you're underwriting a rental, that's not what you're going to look at, but it happens long term, and then somebody else is paying down. Like your people that are in the bottom part of your house that you're house hacking are paying off a loan that's
Yep.
in your name, soon to be
Yep.
your husband's name, right? You outsourced your loan payments to
Yeah.
another individual. So what was that your, did you kind of think about it that way? Like principal pay down, was that a big part of your
Well,
calculation? It's almost like a savings account,
when I
right?
bought my first house in '02 in or yeah, '02 in North Carolina, it was like I said, I got it for under market value because it was a VA foreclosure and it was in decent shape. It wasn't like I didn't buy it at
Mm-hmm.
foreclosure auction. The
Mm-hmm.
bank had taken it back. So that's what I mean. It was a bank owned. It was an REO. So it wasn't like I didn't buy it on the auction stairs. And it
Okay.
was in decent shape, but it needed septic pump and some other things I didn't know about. So I bought that in 2002 for like $70,000, 72,000. Kept it for 6 years, fixed it up with my deployment money. Oh, one hack that people may not know about, and you can do this on the mainland or Hawaii, is I was a single parent. So when I went to Korea for a year, I had my neighbor didn't like their house. So I put all my crap in a storage unit and they rented my house for the year I was in Korea at slightly under market value. Like I think I rented it to them for $1,000 a month instead of 1,200. And I continued to get BAH because I had a dependent on the mainland. Meanwhile, the tenants are paying my mortgage and I have to pay my ex-husband child support because he had my daughter. But I did my house was appreciating that whole year I was in Korea. Same thing when I went to Iraq. I had my other friend Tasha live in my house, and I didn't even have to move all my furniture out because she was my girl. So she watched my dog and lived in my house for like $500 a month. And that was amazing because I still continue to get BAH. And that was North Carolina.
And all that experience. So let me just mention one thing. ADPI, and I always talk about we educate from the perspective, like the order in which we teach things is in order to build your confidence. So I think it was fascinating that you were talking about the VA appraisal and how you're looking for
That are
houses
bad,
that
stinky.
are like that are bad, right? So to me, that tells me that like probably these first, like the foreclosure, all these issues, like having to go to Korea and all, probably you're like you were thrown into this environment where you probably wouldn't have put yourself into that
No.
situation on your own, but you got, you some of it was on accident, by accident, some of it was just thrown at you, but as a result you went through that fire, that trial, and now boom, you
Yeah.
have this confidence. You're like, wait a second, I made money off of this, maybe I should
Oh, yeah.
continue
So
doing that. Maybe
yeah.
I should,
Yeah, no,
you
we
know what I
sold
mean?
that house. We bought it for 70,000. Well, I bought it for 70,000. Ended up getting married to Jason, and I'm in and out. I'm in Iraq, I'm in Korea, I'm doing all these things. I'm moving all my crap to storage. And the military didn't pay for it. We had to move it, so we moved our crap to storage. Sold that house for I think 95,000, and it was a bidding war. It was 2008, which brings me to our second house. We bought it in 2008. Everyone knows what happened in 2008. So that's another reason we
Ooh-wee.
couldn't sell it. We bought it for 119. We fixed it up. It should have been worth 150, but all of a sudden it wasn't. It was still only worth about 120, 130.
Mm,
So we had to rent it. We
I
rented it for
see.
years, thought we'd come back to brag. Troy got sick. We didn't come back to brag. We were both paratroopers. Why would we not be at brag? Well, you don't know when your kid's going to get sick and you're overseas. So we moved to Maryland. Well, when we
Right.
got to Maryland, we lived in a townhouse. Troy was getting surgeries. We could not focus on buying a house. There was too much going on. So we rented a townhouse for about
Sure.
15 months, a little over a year. Loved it. It was great, but I was like, I got the bug again. I'm like, we need to buy a house. We need to buy a house. And we both had VA loans. So my loan, his loan was in his certificate of eligibility was tied up in the North Carolina house. So mine was free again. So we bought a house in Annapolis,
Mm-hmm.
Maryland, off of Forest Drive for $315,000, I think. 335. But we got 15,000 back from the seller at closing, which you can do. We had a very creative. Oh, I love being creative. I love it. So we were able to get them to pay $15,000 at closing to a contractor, and we put another 15,000 in. We completely renovated this 5 bedroom, 3 bathroom house. Yes,
Whoa, stop.
yeah, for 30 grand, and we did some
Okay.
of the work. There's
Okay.
pictures on my Facebook. Like, come be my Facebook friend. Look at my pictures. I hate Instagram. Sorry, I'm old, but Facebook has my whole entire life and investment story on it. You just have to look through the pictures.
Gosh, I have too many notes of
Well,
things I want to
I'll
ask you
be
right
real
now.
quick with that
Hold
one. So we
on.
bought it for 335, got
Oh yeah,
15,000
yeah,
back. It
yeah.
was every room was painted a different shade of pastel because the lady who owned it was legally blind, and I don't know what she was thinking, but I loved it. It was ugly, and I loved it. We even painted the outside. It was
Had
mustard yellow
character.
when we bought it, with red brick. It was so atrocious. But
Oh, I think I've seen houses like
yes, it
that
was
in
split
Maryland,
level.
like especially in Annapolis. You have these. It's a tinker town almost. So it's like you have
Yep.
like these weird
Yeah,
houses.
and
But
so
yeah,
we
yeah.
we painted it. 335 we bought it. We sold it for 395 18 months later and moved to Hawaii. And when we got to Hawaii, I'm looking for a crap
Wow.
house. I'm like, let me find this crappy house. Let me find it. So we
Mm-hmm.
set our but yeah,
Give
we
me
set our
another one.
budget at 550. We still had the North Carolina house, but at least it was making like 100 bucks a month. And it was chill. Like it wasn't in too bad a shape except
And
yeah,
somebody else
they
was
were paying it
paying
off.
off your debt
Yeah,
for
a
you, right?
tornado came through
Yeah.
and sucked off half the house, but we had it rebuilt. No big deal. So yeah, I mean, it's not always easy, but that's why you keep your insurance.
Trial
I'm
by
telling you,
fire,
I
and it
didn't
gives
even
you
think about this till
confidence,
we sat down to talk how much shit we've been through in real estate. But yeah, or stuff we've been through. Yeah. So
right?
anyway, I forgot where I was at. Oh, so we moved to Hawaii and we set our budget in
Hawaii, right?
2014 at 550. We wanted to buy a fixer upper on North Shore. My husband fell into the trap of look at these pretty houses that are ready to move into an ABCD area, and
Mm,
I'm like, no, I had already lived here. I'm like, we want North Shore. Trust me, we want North Shore. It's beautiful. It's a beachy town. It's close. I knew I was going to be stationed at Hilamano Military Reservation, which is only a signal battalion and housing. I was like, we want to be on North Shore. This is what we're doing. I'm a little forceful and stubborn sometimes, as you can imagine. So, especially when I know I'm right. But he was looking in areas like Whitmore Village and Waihiwa, which is not bad, but we could have bought a house that was large and pretty for 400,000. And he was looking in Eva Beach. We looked in Waihiwa. We looked all around, but I was like, I would rather buy a POS on North Shore for 500, 600,000 than buy a gorgeous house in these other areas because we can't fix it up. And I just know the areas. I know North Shore is where you
mhm.
want to be because location, location, location is not a lie. So anyway, we looked around and he found the house that we bought. It was listed for 675 and our budget was 650. I'm like, Jason, and it was a new
Oh,
build. I'm
wow.
like, number one, we don't do new builds. You know this. So I'm being me. Jason, we don't do new builds. You know better than that. And he's like, let's just go look at it. He knows how to get through to me. He's like, let's just go look at it. And I'm like, okay. So we went to look at it and it was big. It was 2,000 square feet with a two-car garage and a 6,000 square foot lot on North Shore. Brand new built. Nobody had ever lived in it. I'm like,
Wow.
oh, and the smell of the new house, like it's intoxicating, right? But I still was trying to stick to my principles.
Yeah.
But the reason we bought it is because all the fixer-uppers up here on North Shore were like bad, like real bad, like roach infested, rat infested, horribleness that I couldn't wrap my mind around. And
Mm.
that's what this house is that we ended up buying. But first, we didn't buy that. We bought the,
You needed a little bit
I
more
was not ready
experience
yet.
under your belt, you
Yeah,
probably
I
before you.
wasn't ready for that
Yeah,
level of
yeah, yeah.
fixer-upper. I had bought stinky houses, I had bought dirty houses, I had bought pastel houses, but I had never bought a house that was like stank. And these houses were stank. They were
Yeah,
bad.
yeah, yeah.
Um, because the Hawaii definition of average and livability is very different than the mainland. You can buy stuff here that you would not imagine that the VA would let you buy, and they will, because they're just it's different here. Yeah, so
Wow. So there's a
yeah.
lot of
So we
opportunity, it
bought that
sounds
house
like.
because it could be separated into two different units, upstairs and downstairs. And so my entrepreneurial mind is, okay, right now we have two kids
How did you
because
know?
just with the layout. Like I looked at the layout, and when you walk in, wet bars are a big thing in Hawaii. So there was a wet bar downstairs, which a wet bar is a sink and a refrigerator, but no stove. And so it has sink. Well, they didn't even have
Okay.
a refrigerator in there, but it has sink and a space for a refrigerator and a space for a stove, even though you're not supposed to have it. So I was like, ooh. And we had a pool table at the time. There was space for our pool table and our bar. Our daughter was going to be downstairs. We were going to be upstairs in the 2-2. It was all connected, but I saw where you could put doors on either side of the laundry room so you could separate it. And there was exterior doors. It was great. You can even separate the yard. It was amazing. So I was like, okay, let's do it. So we walked in. Once again, we dealt with the listing agent directly, but we had more experience now, so we knew what we were getting into. So we walked in and we were like, "Hey," the developer's wife was the listing agent, which is also dicey as heck, and I won't even go into them, but he's running around hiding, I think, in the Caribbean somewhere because he can't come back to Hawaii. Uh, when you do bad things, you get ran off this island and you cannot come back. So you have to be really good person or you can't be here. So we bought that house.
Okay.
Yeah, we
Good to
bought that
know.
house for
Good to know.
653. They gave us a discount because we didn't have an agent, but we did take the contract to Mariana Brigo, rest her soul. She is a saint. Used to be a real estate broker here on island. We took it to her. She looked at it. She's like, everything looks okay to me. We bought the house. We built a big lanai on the back. We separated it into two. We landscaped it. We did so much work to it. And from 653 in 2014, we sold it for $1.14 million in 2021. That, my dears, is why I like Hawaii
Woo-wee.
real estate. I was absolutely hooked after that. So we bought this house in 2020. We kept that one for a year as a rental. It was cash flowing about 1,000 bucks a month. Our mortgage was 3,500, and we were paying the tenants were paying 45. But I looked at my husband because you have to know when to get out. So I looked at my husband. I was like, look, we have about six hundred
Yeah.
thousand dollars equity. Here's a really big learning point. In the army, they stamp their feet and point. Okay, I'm stamping my foot and I'm pointing. I know you can't see me, but stomp, stomp, listen up. If you are going to sell a property that you've lived in for 2 of the past 5 years, you can, and you're married, you are exempt for up to $500,000 of capital gains. So guess what? We made, after paying realtors, $585,000 on that home. Only $85,000 of it was taxed. The rest was not taxed. We had $500,000 free and clear. That is our seed. That's our seed flipping money.
Boom.
And then I had the GS12 job and I had the real estate and I had everything. We saved money like gangbusters. This house that we bought here, we bought for 1 million. It was 2020. Perfect storm, low interest rate. Nobody else was shopping. We had 40 days of rain. The house was disgusting. It was rat infested, roach infested, to the extent they told us don't plug the stove back in because it'll burn down the house because the rats have chewed the wires. I mean, it was bad, but I love it. So we moved into this one. We put about $200,000 into renovating it, and that was 2021, 2020, and now it's worth about. If I had to sell it, I'd list it for 1.75, and we owe about 800. And we use that seed money to flip multiple condos on one on North Shore, a house in Mililani, and we did a 1031 exchange of our North Carolina house, which 1031, I'm sure somebody else talks about that. Listen to 1031 exchange stuff, it's valuable. So we 1031 exchanged that property Oh, and I teach that at my ADPI meetups. Shameless, not shameless plug. Second Monday of
Woohoo!
each month,
No, not
second
shameless at
Monday of
all.
each month at Taqueria El Ranchero in Kapolei, I will tell you everything that I know and teach you everything that I know. So please come to my meetups. I
There you
want
go.
people to
There
be
you go.
successful. I
Hell
looked
yes.
into some stuff. I had
Or fly out to Hawaii for
yes,
this.
it's
It's
a
that I'm
write-off. It's
sure.
a write-off.
Yes. Yeah.
Come look at some properties.
Yeah.
I'll
There you
show you some
go.
properties and you come to my meetup and yeah, I mean I have all kind of people from the Asia Pacific network that come out here from Guam. I love to teach. I love to teach. So please let me come here and I will teach you. So, but yeah, we did a 1031
Okay.
exchange. So now we
So
own two condos in Waikiki outright. We rent one of them, and my daughter lives in the other one. And my clients get to stay downstairs in my house. So I have clients that are flying in. Actually, they flew in last night. They'll be here today,
damn.
and they're staying. Her and her daughter are staying here for free for a week while they settle their house that's selling. And my clients get to stay in my homes for free, um, because I take care of my people.
That's
So,
what
and
I'm
I teach them
talking
how to make
about.
money.
Okay. I. You know what? We were actually so the team. I was inspired by. I think his first name is Adam. Adam Chesky, the CEO of Airbnb. I know you have certain opinions
I
about
do.
short-term rentals. We're not. That's not what I'm talking about right now. He's a
Yeah.
smart guy. All right. Yeah. So he talks about how like this concept of seven star service. He's like these days 5 stars is just
No, you can
expected.
barely every
It's almost
service is
like
horrible these days, I feel like. It's so bad. People don't even treat you like a human. You're a number. You talk to a robot. I hate
right.
it.
And so like well, so his point is like okay, so for example, like if you rent out whether it's a hotel Airbnb doesn't matter whatever it is you're like okay if you go there and everything's on time everything's clean everything's where it needs to be the pictures actually resemble what it is all that kind of stuff you're probably going to give it 5 stars right but he's like okay well so really 5 stars is just
It's expected.
baseline really at this point so he's like okay well yeah so he started thinking I was like well how do we make it on a 5 star scale, how do we get 6 stars? He's like, okay, well, maybe we'll pick them up from the airport and bring them over and I'll give them a hug when they show up. Then he's like, okay, well, let's keep playing this game. How can I make it 7 stars? He's like, well, I'm going to pick them up in a Mercedes in the seat next to them. They're going to have their favorite meal and their favorite, magazine. And then they're going to show up to the house and we're going to, I don't know, have catered food. I don't whatever and he played this game with his team till 30
Yeah.
stars. Just for the whole purpose of this was to like say, hey, if 5 stars is the baseline, what can we do to create word of mouth? And so I love that you're doing that. I'm giving you a
Thank you.
plug because you're taking care of your clients. And I think that's you're thinking that way. You're like, I need to stand out. Not only because you want to, but because that's how you are
I'm a
an
pleaser.
awesome business
At the end
person,
of the
right?
day, I'm
Like
a
these
pleaser. Okay, all that stuff they taught me in grade school, because they always they we raise our girls to be pleasers, and so I am absolutely. I will tell you no and tell you some stuff you don't want to hear, but I like to make people happy. Like I'm glad that my client gets to come and stay with me, and I like her. I'm glad that her and her daughter, and we're making them dinner tonight, and I've one of my clients, Jackie, I met her at the airport. We'd only known each other from Facebook, but I met her at the airport, gave her the keys to my Jeep and told her where it was parked and how to get to my house. And she came directly to the island. She was military, so I knew where to find her if she tried to, like, hijack my house. But I gave her the keys to my Jeep
yeah.
and she drove to my house and stayed at my house for a weekend while we were on the way out to Hilo for something, Big Island. And she was on the way moving to Oahu. And those are the kind of things, like, even people I haven't sold houses to, because I will take them around and help them get situated and let them use my car or make them a meal. Like, they don't forget. They plug me.
And they probably refer
They
somebody
do,
to
and
you. Yeah.
this is the number one thing for
Oh
real
yeah.
estate agents, right? Is don't get people in crappy deals, because if you save somebody from themselves, they will still refer you.
Oh, that's your
Dude,
reputation.
your reputation is
Yeah.
everything. It's
That's your
everything.
reputation. It literally, well, I mean, first impressions and then
Yeah.
reputation overall. Those like show up awesome
Yeah.
and then do
That
awesome.
kept some
It's
people
it's
from
it's it's
making
like
horrible decisions, and they were so thankful. They
it's a
referred
life
me
hack.
somebody else, and they referred me somebody else, and kicking the can down the road, that's like 5 or 10 sales from that one person that I said, "You know what? You're gonna be leaving the island in 18 months.
Exactly.
You're living rent-free at Auntie's house because your husband is deployed. Don't buy something. It's not gonna work out for you monetarily." Like, and it's if she wanted to keep something and rent it and whatever and wanted to build a portfolio, that might be a different situation. But she told me what her goals were. And I told her that buying in Hawaii does not align with your goals. And she agreed and she didn't purchase and she referred me to other people. It just comes back to doing the right thing. If doing the right thing is always right,
Do the
you
right
know, you
thing.
might not get that
Yeah,
commission this week, but what about next week or the next year or the year after that? If you screw somebody over, you get that commission one time
well,
and then it's gone and you've ruined your reputation. What are you going to do? So,
I mean, as real estate investors, we should be thinking long term, not those cheap, easy
yeah.
wins every time. Like you're going to shoot yourself in the foot on your way to the true goal.
And you're a crappy
Wow.
person.
Okay, so
Like,
that's
who wants to be a crappy
awesome.
person?
Yeah, just do the right thing. I mean, we are just talking to REI Nation. One of their like core values is
Yes.
do the right thing every time. And so I was like, you know what? I love that. Um, okay, so you're building confidence. You're doing all this real estate. You're now looking at properties that most people wouldn't
Yes.
look at. You found, I would even call it almost kind of like a loophole. You're like, wait a second, we just need to squeak by on the VA appraisal, get it up or not appraisal, the
Mhm.
approval, right? And now you can get something for pennies on the dollar. You've been there, done that. You know how to like turn these bad boys around, and boom, that's how you're making equity come out of thin
Yeah.
air. It almost seems like sometimes with real estate. And wow, okay, so what about managing?
Property management
Okay.
or managing
And
the business?
yeah, so no, property management. So you're saying that you manage properties for
Yes.
your clients. Like how did that happen? And it
I fall
like
into stuff.
was it that you
I
just
fall
stumble
into
into that?
everything.
You just
Yeah.
fall into
So
okay. You fall into a foreclosure, now you're falling into
well,
property
okay.
management.
So I
Okay,
was
got
oh,
it.
well, let's backtrack a little bit. My husband is the one who encouraged me to get my license. So my plan was retire from the army, and I loved the army, but when I was done, I decided I was done. To bring it down a notch, I had a lieutenant that killed
Right.
herself that I was close to, and that hurt me a lot. It affected me very
Oh
deeply
no.
because I was one of
Yeah.
her friends and I was closest to her in the unit, and I was like, why didn't I see this? But I was so wrapped up with work and the mission and being my hard behind
Right.
self that I Monday morning quarterbacked myself forever about that, but that hit me really hard, and I felt like some of the people in my chain of command, my bosses only cared about the statistics. What does it look like? And I was like, who gives a damn what it looks like? You lost somebody. That is more important than what a statistic look. I don't care about a statistic, and so I started to get real bitter, and angry, and so I was like, hey, it's time for me to go because I can't be a part of
Wow.
this. I don't believe in this anymore. So that's one of the reasons I retired. Plus, my hip was giving out and my back, and I was a paratrooper, ran marathons.
I
But
hear you.
anyway, so that I was getting out of the army, and my husband, I worked at USARPAC, U.S. Army Pacific Headquarters, on the way out as a master sergeant. My last like 6 months in service. My husband was a home builder, and he's like, "You should get your real estate license." I'm like, "Why would I want to do that? I'm just going to be a GS." I had lined it up where I'd work at USARPAC, I would retire, and 6 months later, I'd come and sit at the exact same desk in civilian clothes. And daggone it if I didn't. I did, and I was so happy. That's what I wanted. Jason's like, "Get your license." So I started doing my license in January of 16. I got my real estate license in April of 16. I stopped working in May of 16, and then my terminal leave brought me through September. I already had two or three sales by the time I retired because, and I was managing properties. I had people on North Shore that I met at the wine tasting. Oh, be out and about. If you're an agent and you're looking for tips on how to be successful, be a part of your community. Go out, go to wine tastings, go to neighborhood board meetings,
Mm-hmm.
join your chamber of
Mm-hmm.
commerce. Being out there. I'm part of the Professional Women's Network. Like right after this, I'm on their board now too. So I'm on the way out to that meeting. Meeting people and being a part of the community and contributing is
Awesome.
how you will
Yeah.
be accepted, especially in a place like Hawaii where they're not really big on outsiders. You have to show and prove that you are real. And if you don't, you ain't gonna make it. You might make it with the military people, but you're not gonna make it with the locals. You gotta do the do. But yeah, so he encouraged me to
Yeah.
get my license, and I was like, holy crap, I'm actually really good at this and I like it. So uh let's see. Oh, my neighbor that I met at the wine tasting was like, our property manager is not doing a good job, and this is a very famous story. So I was like, okay, well, I'll check it out. And it was a fourplex. So my very first property I managed was a fourplex with a septic tank that was always, it was always
Wow, cool.
revolting. It was this septic tank. I can't even. They finally got it replaced, but it was always on a Friday night or a Saturday morning, and it was just something was always.
Oh
Oh yeah, no,
God.
I went over there dressed up. The male tenants thought it was hilarious. So here's a funny story. I went over there on a Friday night because they were calling me like, "Hey, water's backing up in the yard," blah 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 blah. So I went over there, and uh, the main line, like, you can take the lid off a septic tank and look down in it. Well, it's big enough that you can fall in it too if you don't be
Yeah, yeah,
careful. So
yeah.
I'm like, I don't wanna
Oh
fall in it. It's
yeah.
like 18-inch in diameter hole. So I take the lid off and I can see that no water's coming out the drain. So I tried to snake it, and I'm in, like, decent clothes because 'cause I'd been out at an event, and they're laughing their asses off because I'm all dressed up messing with this septic tank. I got mad and took the hose. I turned on the
Good
hose
night.
full blast and started ramming it up the hole. So I'm leaning over in the septic tank about 2.5 feet below the ground level, jamming this hose in this hole. The guys won't even hold the flashlight because they're like, huh, huh, huh. I was like, You're such a wuss. You're such a wuss. So, and they weren't military to be fair. I rammed this hose because I got mad. I had a temper tantrum. And all of a sudden, whatever was blocking it got dislodged and whoosh. I was like, ah! I jumped back so it didn't get on me.
It's like 10 pounds of baby
Don't
wipes.
get me started on baby wipes. That's a whole other septic pump story. But yeah, so I'm really adept at dealing with septic pumps and septic issues.
Okay,
But
okay,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. Anyway, so
So that was your venture
yeah,
into property
and the reason I
management,
do it
and
is to
now
help
your
people.
clients move away and you manage
Yeah,
their
because
properties, right?
yeah, I do
What's
it to
that?
help people. Like, it's not super fun. I really like providing people a safe and healthy, clean place to live. And my owners want somebody who's not going to nickel and dime them. So I manage their properties for like a set rate, and
Right.
I don't charge a bunch of bullcrap fees, and I help them do their tax stuff. I have an accountant that'll help them with their taxes. So yeah, but
Oh,
the
nice.
fees are where they get you. Yeah,
Package
and I don't
deal.
want to
There
be
we
like
go.
that. Excuse me. And since I'm a small company, I get to set the rates. I get to do whatever I want as long as it's under that framework of the regulations. And so I can be a good property manager, not overcharge.
And it's nice,
Yeah,
consistent,
it's consistent money.
right? And it's like
Yep.
consistent income, which is huge. I mean, it's almost like, I mean, if you think about it, that's just like
Oh
cash
no,
flow.
it is.
Like,
I don't discount
so
that at all. That's in my monthly budget because as a real estate agent, it's hard to have a
there you
budget
go.
because one month I might make $100,000. Guess what I make the next 3 months? Zero. It depends. So,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
property management
Yeah.
is
You might have
steady.
3 closings that one month, boom, and it's like,
Yeah,
yeah,
property
I hear
management's
you. I
steady, and
hear you.
you're helping
Um,
people, and that's the biggest thing is providing a service to somebody who is really appreciative. And my clients are really appreciative, and I like that.
so, so I want to comment on one thing, and then I
Okay,
have a question that I think you're probably not expecting.
I love surprises.
Um, so one thing I just back to the 7-star service, and just like wanting to do the right thing, ADPI, which you've been a part of for
Gosh, seven,
I mean, I don't know,
five,
probably
6 years,
almost the beginning of our,
long time.
yeah, yeah. We, I don't have an
Me either.
MBA.
I got an associate's.
I was a computer science IT. Yeah. I have a computer science IT degree, that I then didn't use. I thought I was going to hack Russia and like, whatever, or China. And I don't know. I was like very,
Ambitious.
anyway, and then, but then yeah, but well, I mean, I was a nerd, and then I wanted to like, and then I ended up like wiggling sticks on an antiquated Marine Corps aircraft that like was like, it was like a flip of a coin if it was ever going to go up. And then when you're flying it, you're just trying to make sure
You don't
it
die.
doesn't like fall
Yeah.
apart on you. Yeah. And so, uh, when ADPI started, it was I kind of fell into that too, and then like the whole team started kind of falling into it too, and I think we really quickly learned a similar principle, like where it's just our entire, for the longest time I was shying away of saying we're a business, but we are. We are an education
Mhm.
company, we are an education community, but like we have like this flywheel that we reference where everything is all about remember I was saying like first
Yeah.
impression, and then
Lasting reputation.
your
Yep.
reputation. So here the analogy is, for us it's onboarding. So when you come into our membership, we're like, okay, we need to make sure you are taken care of. Like, we're going to give you a call. We're going to show you every single part of the community. We're going to talk about your goals. You're going to have like a roadmap that you have to go through to figure out, okay, hey, and it'll be obvious to you, like, okay, I'm moving to Hawaii, blah, blah, blah. Oh, and you're like, oh, and you naturally fall into calling you. Like if you're one of our members, they know,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, it's like, it has to be that way. And then, but the actual like, so that's kind of like the domino that starts the flywheel. But the outcome that affects our reputation is member success. Like every single time where we're like, okay, well, how much should we like our coaching be when somebody wants to like go buy an apartment complex and we need to spend 14 weeks and hours and hours and hours training somebody to do that, or we need to just help somebody figure out their own. Well, we would use professional help, NCH, for like entity structure, but we would at least give them stories of how we do it. And like, there's a lot of time and attention when somebody's first starting out. And we just realized it all has to be focused and grounded on member
Yes.
success. So it's like doing the right thing. And I don't know. I just see a lot of parallels there with how you're thinking about it, how we definitely didn't realize how to think about this stuff day one. It's like we always mean well, but we're like, wait a second, it's pretty basic. Do the right thing, care about your reputation. Oh, also make a good first
Yeah.
impression. That's, so anyway, I just wanted to dovetail it. But here's the question. Okay. I have become a watch connoisseur lately, and I couldn't help but notice the watch you got.
Don't break into my house. I
Yeah.
really like it.
So like, yeah. So this watch is actually my dad's 20
This was
plus
I
year
finally made it watch. I made it. I'm a broker and I made it. That's my
Yeah.
I made it
So
watch.
yeah. So if you guys can't tell, you've got, what is that? A
It's a I
date
don't
or a
know. I
date
can't read it because I don't have
just
my glasses on.
Rolex? Does it have the day on
Yeah.
it,
Oh,
or is it just the date?
hang on.
Is it the day
Date
and the date, or
just.
just the date?
Yeah, date just.
There
These
you go.
don't work
So
with my headphones.
that is a beautiful
Thank
Rolex.
you. I
And
really like it, and
I
sometimes you got to treat yourself, and it's something that to me it was like you
no,
made it.
yeah,
The rappers sing about it in the
absolutely.
song. I'm like, I need a really, really, really. Like I wanted it.
Hey, I'm asking you because I
Yeah,
want one, and I haven't allowed. Well, first of all, I just recently even figured out this whole
it'll
world
take you a
of
year to get
watches,
it. You
and
have to pre-order it. You
yeah,
can't just go and roll up and buy one.
yeah, I'm already on a wait list. But like, I just, initially I was just like, well, why do you need a watch? To me, it's like but so for example, my wife Katya, she loves a nice purse. She's
I love
very
me a
big on
nice
like work hard,
purse.
play hard.
Yeah,
Yes. Oh, she's got
I love this
almost
one.
similar one. But yeah, so she's like, okay, she's very much work
Yes.
hard, play hard. And I remember listening to Jerry Seinfeld, and he's like, even in daily, he brings it down to like the daily work routine. He's like, you work hard for an hour, go eat a cookie.
Oh my gosh.
He's like, you work hard for an hour, take 5 minutes off. And because he's like, look, I'm kind of like a dog. He jokes around. He's like, you just need to train your brain, do something, get something in
Yeah.
reward. Because he's like, I had to teach my kids the same thing. My daughter, she's like, I'm going to write stuff. And then she spent 8 hours writing, and then she burned herself out. He's like, no,
Yeah.
you got it. So when I see that, I'm like, I finally get it. Like, there isn't a lot of things I want. Like, our cars are just regular cars that get us to
Yeah,
A
my
to B,
cars are
like
all
whatever.
pushing
There's certain things I
200,000
don't really
miles.
like
I
need.
ride my cars till they fall apart. I live in a
Yeah.
house that's not huge and not opulent. I mean, I'm in the kitchen, it has a great view. I spend my money on food, shoes, my kids, my nieces and nephews' college education, and I like to go on trips. Me and my husband have a Four Seasons problem. Most of the time I can spin it into a
Oh
write-off,
my
but
God. That's
yeah, I mean, you
awesome.
got to, and
Yeah.
you got to prioritize your family, or you won't have one. So I work my butt off. But Troy knows if I'm my son, if I'm he's still at home. If I'm on the computer when he gets home, I'm selling a house or I'm doing something that's enabling him to play golf at Turtle Bay on Sunday. I'm enabling the lifestyle that he
Yep.
partakes in. My husband has a great job, but it's nowhere near what I make. And so, they appreciate that and they support me, and that is so important. So,
And that's why I wanted to really probably dig into that, because I think on surface level somebody might look at like, oh, look, they're wearing a Rolex, like that's the show. It there's so much more to it. Like the amount of drive it takes to do what you're doing, right? To be an entrepreneur, to really to I mean, the scoreboard is the dollars and cents to then enable yourself to go to the Four Seasons, give your children what you want, to like the underlying reason for achieving that scoreboard. There's a lot that
yeah.
goes into that. And sometimes to keep going, there might be a thing you want, and maybe you don't have to explain it to anybody. And I'm almost talking to myself here. I'm like, I need what, like that's my, anyway, I just wanted to hear your side of
Yeah,
it and how you're thinking
I
about
grew
it.
up
But
lower middle
I
class
love
and I
that.
hated it. I hated being the poorest kid. I got free lunch and I hated it. Everybody knew. I went to a private
Mm-hmm.
school, thank goodness. I'm very grateful. My parents somehow squeezed out the money for that, but like we were so poor I was on free lunch and they made us go either first or last. I can't remember. It was so embarrassing. My uniforms didn't fit right. The kids made fun of me.
Mm.
Like, and I probably smelled like cigarettes because my parents smoked and I didn't know any better because I grew up in that. And so avoiding having my kids not have to ride the struggle bus the way I did is important to me. I came in the army because that was the best thing I could do for myself. I was 17 and I wasn't going anywhere. And so I'm so glad I joined the military.
I
It
hear
gave me
you.
the
Yeah.
structure I needed. It taught me things. I got
Right.
education. I went to Signal Corps accidentally. Like I just joined the Signal Corps because I wanted to leave immediately. And they were like, okay, if you want to leave immediately, you can be a cook or communications. I was like, I ain't cooking nobody's food. And my score was high on my test. So I joined Signal Corps and then I ended up getting a TSSCI and I was at Fort Meade, Maryland because my kid got sick.
Right.
And so it's taking all the crappy things that happened to you in your life and spinning it into something more productive. I didn't want my kid to get sick, but since he was and we went to Maryland, guess what? I got a freaking TS and I learned to do ComSec, communication security, and I made connections. And if I had gotten out in Annapolis, I would have been successful there. We moved to Hawaii. I made connections. I did the right thing. I always tried to lead from the front and, treat my soldiers the way I wanted to be treated as a troop. And it pays off. I still have soldiers. I've been retired almost 7, 8 years now. People will still refer me that I knew when I was in the service because of the way that I acted in the service because they knew, and I had somebody give me a referral. They said, I trusted
I
Erica with my life in Iraq, and you can surely trust her with real estate. And that is like, oh, that's like deep. And Marky knows I'm a crybaby, so we're not going to be crying today. but but I
No,
do
you're fine.
appreciate
Hey,
everybody. I
I
appreciate
love
my
that.
my rah rah
Yeah,
squad a
thank
lot.
for sure. We're part of that. Hey, and I know we're
Yeah.
coming up at the end. Actually, we're over time, but it's just been such a great conversation. I don't want to keep you too much longer. Let me just say a lot of I've been a big fan, and actually at the last ADPI I kind of mentioned this. It's just um, that saying. I think it was Marcus Aurelius, like the obstacle is the way, right? The stoicism. You're talking about like you had all these obstacles. I mean, you can say make lemonade out of
I hate
like
that.
turn lemons into lemonade, right? Whatever. Yeah, I know, but obstacles, what you're looking at the obstacle and you're like, I'm going to flip the script and I'm going to turn that into not just the lemonade, but actually the way through, and it's going to pave the way. Like lemonade's a one-time thing, but this is going to pave the way further. So I think that's awesome. And one last thing, because I know you're very passionate about it, obviously, is
Yes.
giving more than you're receiving. And I'll just give you one little thing that I think you can dovetail into with my grandma also is very big on that. She literally lives by like it's like that Bible parable is like you give more than you receive. She I think she gives away everything and then she ends up with
Yes, that's
double
how
all
it
the time.
works. People don't get it. That's how it works. If you have your hands like
It's
this,
crazy.
money can't go out, but it can't come in. If you have your heart like this, love can't go out, but it can't go in. You have to be open. You have to be open. And, that's all I can say about that. And my husband's signature block says that the way forward is through. And that is true. You can't go around obstacles. You have to go through them. You have to go through the hard times. And we've been married almost 20 years now. So guess what? It ain't all peaches and
Oh,
cream.
you
Like,
know.
people that have known
You
me know
know.
that, I am not the easiest person to get along with and neither is my husband even though he plays it cool on the outside. Like we both, we're both strong personalities in different ways and the way forward is through. You just have to keep freaking going.
Don't quit.
No, you run a
Don't quit,
marathon. Guess
right?
how you finish? One foot in front of the other. No matter how slow or fast you go, you will finish if you don't freaking quit. Quitting is not an option.
That's awesome. Thanks again, Erica. Just one
Yeah.
little quick thing about how can people get a hold of you if they want to find you. We're going to have it in the show notes as
Cool.
well, everybody. If you're on YouTube, check it out. All the typical cool kids things like subscribe, but in the description, you should find information about Erica. But if you're in your car, Erica, what
I
can they
have a
do?
website like everyone, right? So my website is
Mhm.
www.seaside808.com. So seaside, like you're at the seaside, seaside808.com. And you can just call me through there. Like you literally push the button and it'll call my cell phone. There might be a little bit of a delay. I don't know. I hate technology, really. But if you find me on Facebook, it's Erica Jones Lemkuhl.
You're a
I
signal
know, I
corps.
know. That's why I stopped doing it and went into real estate. I liked it when it was radios and digging holes and shooting things and climbing up antennas and jumping out of trees. I like that stuff. I didn't like the let me figure out why this packet won't send through this like
Doot, doot,
no, I
doot.
hated it. I hated it. Yeah, so I like the troop leading of the military and I like the dirty running, sweating, horrible parts, but like the technical part I didn't enjoy. So,
I
but
hear
yeah,
you.
just look
That's
me up at
fine.
seaside808.com. You can find me on Facebook. I'm always on ADPI, the Facebook page talking smack about something.
The-
So, yeah.
right.
And come to my
For
meetups. I love
sure.
it.
For sure. Uh, Yep. Yep. Where are
It's
they again?
Taqueria El Ranchero in Kapolei. So it's at the Kamakana Mall, Kamakana Ali'i Mall. Yeah, just
Okay.
message me
You say
the
it was on
second Monday
Mondays?
of
Is
each
that what you
month. So
said?
we are very consistent. Unless it's some kind of spectacular
Awesome.
holiday like Valentine's Day, we're having it. Doesn't matter if it's Columbus Day or Indigenous Peoples Day. Doesn't matter if it's President's Day. We are doing our meetup. So, yep.
Okay. You guys heard it. And also on our website, activedutypassiveincome.com, there is a menu option where you can find other top-notch professionals and Erica. So you'll see that in our menu on the website. If you ever need to find somebody like Erica in a different neck of the woods, go there. Or if you're going to Hawaii and you forgot how to find Erica, you can go to our website too.
I'm
You'll
so
find
easy
her
to
there.
find.
Or just email. Yeah, you're all
I
over
am.
the
I am.
place.
I'm going to Honolulu in
Okay,
about
but
10 minutes.
all right. I'm sorry for keeping you.
Thank you.
Everybody, thank you so much. I can't wait to make this go live. Take
Thank
care,
you.
Erica. Bye.